Okay.
What's up, guys? I'm Des. This is Ryan. This is Chris. And welcome to the Up.
Welcome back, guys.
So we may have had a little hiatus. Life's gotten busy. It's supposed to be like a month hiatus, and maybe it turned into a 2.5, 3 month hiatus. But nonetheless, we're back. We're going to recap a little bit of the World Cup, a little about the NBA and the offseason, and then we're going to dip our toes into a little football as the football season is right around the corner. But first off, how have you guys been?
I've been good, man. I'm recovering from a nice little much needed trip, a little break from reality a little bit. But I'm good. I'm doing well. How about you, Ryan?
I've never been better. Just got a new opportunity at my job, and I can't wait to start it. But summer was good, busy.
Are we calling it an opportunity?
No, we're calling it a death sentence, but I can't
Hey,
wait.
She's a drama queen.
you never know till you try it. You might enjoy it more than you think.
I might.
Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. Don't know until you do it.
What about you, Des? What you doing all the summer?
Whole lot of work and a whole lot of relaxation on the weekends. So I've been busy, from weddings to trips to seeing a lot of friends, seeing a lot of family. It's been good, but also been busy because it's work on the weekdays and fun on the weekends. So I can't
Yeah.
complain.
Lost deposits.
Lost deposits, man. But nonetheless, it's blessed, very blessed. So
Absolutely.
that's always good. Glad to get back on the pod, man. I've been itching. First, I wanna, before we get into it, let's shout out the shirts. Shout out to Ryan.
Yeah, we got our
Dude
brand
made
new.
some sick shirts.
Wait,
shit.
1 sec.
Chris, show us yours. Yeah, fake. But yeah, got the up on the
Yeah.
back.
The hoodie.
Hey, just know merch is on the corner. Merch is around the corner.
Yeah.
But without further ado, let's get into it. So the World Cup. Well, we're really just gonna recap the final because it's the big part. I think we all watched it together. It was a good game between Spain and Argentina. Ryan, what was your thoughts on that game? What key moment stuck out to you?
I thought it was a really good game. It was very close, mostly because of the Argentina goalie. That game could have very easily been 5-0 if it wasn't for the Argentina goalie. But outside of that, it was a very defensive heavy game, which last World Cup we didn't really have that. It was pretty high scoring. But it went into extra time, just like the previous one. So there was a lot of action.
I think what we were saying is just like the last one went into PKs. We were like, if this one went into PKs, Argentina probably had the upper hand. But Spain was just relentless in shooting. I mean, Argentina's goalie was phenomenal. If they would have won that game, he would have had a statue the next day, right? But they also were just, one shot on goal the entire game for Argentina?
I
think it was like at the very end.
The 90-minute with no shot, I don't think.
Yeah, they in extra time they got like one shot on goal, maybe a
And they
second,
finished with 2.
and 2 shots, but I think one of them wasn't even on goal. So it's just phenomenal that you go into a championship game. I mean, it's the premiere of the World Cup, and you get 0 shots on goal in 90 minutes, and you get 2 late shots on goal. What a defensive game! I love it. I love a good defensive game. Yeah, people say soccer gets a little boring, but it was really great to see. A lot happening. Speaking of finals, going into a little NBA, the New York Knicks won their first NBA finals in 70, 80 years? Maybe it was only 60, but nonetheless, that was a historic win, historic day for the city. But then it also led into the offseason where we've seen a lot of changes and a lot of new faces on new teams. So Ryan, just going into that, what are some big offseason moves that really you think are going to be huge going into next season?
I mean, obviously, LeBron and Jaylen Brown going to the 76ers, that's going to be a huge impact. I think, though, as far as big moves that happened, I think I want to go into more big moves that didn't happen, and that's the Warriors front office not making any kind of desperate moves to try to help Curry out. They're going to run it back with the same team. The only thing they got is the rookie out of Michigan coming in, which, based off of how he played in the Summer League, he should be pretty good. But Warriors didn't do nothing. You saw the Hornets just completely unload. They had a team that looked like they could probably make the playoffs next year and just completely dissolve that team into absolutely nothing. So it'll be interesting. Those are 2 of the NBA teams that I keep up with. So kind of a rough offseason for both of them.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's just it was a little a little disappointing hearing all these kind of little rumors that the Warriors were going to do something and they don't really do anything. It really does feel like it's true that they're not trying to help Curry. In fact, you look back at the last 5 years, and it really seems like they're trying to help them after Curry, which is it's a strategic move, but at the same time, he's still good enough to you where you can compete. And you kind of want to help him out with more pieces, not try to put a bunch of young guys around him. So I was a little bummed out with that. But I'm also excited for the Timberwolves. I'm really high on them year after year. And I do think the addition of LaMelo Ball, it might spark something, but it might also destroy something. Because this is the team they're right on the edge. They're right on the cusp of making it into the finals. What, 2 of the last 3 years? And so I'm hoping the LaMelo Ball move pushes them over the edge rather than makes them regress or stay the same. Chris, I was just saying a lot of moves, and like Ryan said, a lot of lack of moves. What's one big move or lack of a move that you think will be a huge effect going into next season for a team?
I feel like it'd be hard to talk about moves and not bring up what the 76ers were able to accomplish in the offseason, bringing in what most of us might believe would be the Celtics' best player in Jaylen Brown, mainly because of availability. As of over the last couple of years, I think he's been most present outside of. We know Tatum had that injury that he can't really control, but we do know that availability is very key. And then adding a super veteran piece in LeBron, not to say that he's anything of what he used to be, but he still is viable as a teacher and someone who can bring a whole team together and knows what it takes to win and get everybody to work as a unit. So I think bringing in those two pieces, one, a young, talented guy who's going out to essentially prove himself and not be the guy in the shadows anymore. And then you bring in a veteran who's trying to get one little last bit of glory with an already talented roster that we saw without those two, made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think that is something to be a little bit scared of for the rest of the NBA, bringing those two gigantic pieces in. And I think that that was the biggest splash that was definitely made in the NBA this offseason.
I have to agree. That was a big splash. But speaking of the 76ers, Ryan, I think a couple of months ago you might have uttered a statement where you said you believe that the Washington Wizards, are closer to an NBA Finals win than the 76ers. Do you want to stand by that statement?
Yes, I'm going to stand by that statement still. Even though I did not expect this to happen and the 76ers to just overnight become the best team, you still have the New York Knicks retaining most of everybody, if not everybody. Jalen Brunson's the king of New York right now, and him and a bunch of his college buddies are currently carrying the NBA right now. So you still got to go through the Knicks, and then as soon as you get through the Knicks, if you get to the championship, you're going to have to probably face the Thunder or the Spurs or even the Timberwolves, who I think have a shot at the title in the West. So anything with the 76ers is not guaranteed. And we also saw a powerhouse of 3 All-Stars combined for the Nets and make a powerhouse of a team that ended up being absolutely nothing. So you bring in LeBron, who's what seems like 30 games of the season, he doesn't play. You have Joel Embiid, who maybe plays 30 games of the season. The only true person that you're going to have week in and week out is going to be Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown. And I just can't see.
They're very talented players.
They are.
Also, VJ Edgecombe, is Edgecombe not a talented player?
Yeah,
or is that?
Edgecombe is also very talented.
But those guys aren't going to win you championships without the help of the other ones.
I'd agree that they do need
So,
Embiid to stay
even
healthy.
though
I
the
think that's the
76ers
biggest
became
piece.
the favorites overnight, I'm going to stand by my statement. I don't think in the 2
That
years that
still
they're
doesn't
there
make
was.
the damn Wizards any friggin' closer.
But I think the
It
big
doesn't,
thing is those guys,
What do you
I was saying those guys, the Wizards, they do have the first overall pick in AJ DeBansa, who I think is going to be a great player, very phenomenal player. You have a guy in Trae Young who I'm not going to say he's going to win you a championship because he's had his opportunity to, and he has not. But you also have AD in there if he remains semi-healthy. I don't think the Wizards are going to be bad.
Anthony Davis wants to even play there.
We'll see. I mean,
They're
he
not
hasn't left
trading him.
yet. Yeah,
Well,
so
he's trying to get out. I don't think that means that he wants to stay there and play.
if they trade him, they're going to get something halfway. I mean, I'm just saying they're not. The Wizards are on. They're going to be better than they were. But with that being said, the 76ers are in a win now mode. They've put their win now chips at the table, and I think they're going to do just that. They're going to win now. If they can remain healthy, I'd be very scared. I really do believe big if, especially with an older LeBron and an Embiid who can't stay healthy. I think if they can remain healthy, they'll be very, very scary. Because when those players are at their highest health, even LeBron right now, who he's not the same LeBron we saw in Miami, he's not the same LeBron we saw in 2020, right? But he's still LeBron. He has a little left in the tank. And I do think they use load management to kind of push him throughout the season. But if they all stay healthy, especially Embiid, who I believe is the best player on that team while healthy, I think they could be very scary. Will that happen? Who knows? With that being said, I do think right now the Sixers are definitely closer than the Wizards. But in 4 years, I would hope the Wizards are going to be a whole lot closer because they got a lot younger people.
Well, the
I
thing
would
about
say-
it is,
we'll see.
Ryan has said that the Sixers can't win because they don't win the important games, and that's kind of attached to their franchise. But if we want to talk about something being attached to a franchise, how about we talk about the word poverty being attached to the Wizards franchise? I mean, how many times do they pick number one or in the top 5 picking year in and year out? And it's not necessarily because, it's not like they don't have the talent always. It's just they don't develop the talent. The talent doesn't get any better. And then eventually, once the talent's good, it wants to leave. Bradley Beal wanted to get out of Washington. I mean, John Wall had a wasted career in Washington. I mean, all of these talented players, they don't work out in Washington because that franchise is poverty. Nobody gets better. Nobody does anything when they go there. That franchise isn't any closer to a ring now than they were back when Michael Jordan was playing for the team. I mean, they're absolutely a poverty franchise, and they've been that way for decades, and they're going to stay that way as long as they continue the route that they're going.
I think even now, though, you have the Wizards who they're young and they are only getting better. And then you have the 76ers who they've thrown almost all their chips in bringing a national championship or a world championship to the 76ers in the next 2 years. If they don't do that in 2 years, then I think you're going to start to watch things crumble in Philadelphia.
But the thing about it is, Ryan, you got one old player, you got one still semi-young player in Joel Embiid. He's not that old, and then everybody else is young. I mean, you have Maxey who's young, Edgecombe is super young, and Jaylen Brown is still young. So if you keep those 3 guys, you still have 3 young, talented superstars that are on your roster. It's not like the 76ers have 5 old guys on their team that they're hoping to get the last bit out of. Like the Nets that you talked about had an older James Harden, an older Kevin Durant, and a semi-old Kyrie Irving. So they were kind of getting the last bits of those guys at the time. And
I thought he was talking about Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Rajon Rondo, and I was like, I thought you were talking about those big 3.
no, I think he was talking about Durant,
Okay.
Harden, and
I was
Kyrie.
like, what?
They didn't
Okay,
work
I was
out in
gonna
there
say.
because none of them actually ever played together. I think in 3 years they played 16 games together, all 3 of them.
The difference maker is, though, you can put LeBron with anybody, and he's just that type of guy where he's going to figure out how to fit into that team. I mean, that's why everywhere he's gone, he's won. I mean, we can talk about that. He hasn't gone to a team that he hasn't won a championship with. He won one with Cleveland. He won one with Miami, multiple with Miami. He won one in LA. And I'm almost confident enough to say that he's probably going to win one in Philly just because of what he has around him. And if we remember correctly, since he went back to Cleveland in 2014, every year he's been in the East, since he went back to Cleveland, he's won the East. So let's keep that in mind. When he was in the East, for his second stint in Cleveland, he won the East every single year. And he's back in the East, and I don't see that trend changing because if anybody knows how to win in the East, it's LeBron.
I think we all knew he was going to go to the East because at his age, when you want to play and you want to get to the finals, it's got to be through the East because the West, you're playing a contender in the first round, a contender in the second round, a contender in the third round. Where I think when you go to the East, you really don't play a contender until maybe the last 2 teams, 3 teams.
I'll
Are you
just
telling
hate
me
on the
that
East.
there's more
Yeah.
than 3 contenders?
You're
in the
right.
East?
Yeah, we get it. You're right. But the East won the finals, so
Yes,
let's
they
wrap
did.
that up.
I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not
Y'all hating on the
discrediting.
East.
I'm just saying you got to play the Timberwolves in the first round, then you got to play the Thunder in the second round, and then you got to go and play Spurs in the fourth or whatever round.
Yeah,
If-
it's definitely more of a gauntlet. There's
It
the
might
East
just
is
be me, but
much
I'd
weaker.
rather
It's a lot
face-
harder to get through the West.
Yeah.
I would rather face the Heat in the first round, and then I don't know, maybe like the Cavs in the second round and then the Knicks in the finals and then go to the championship game, the odds of you winning
Yeah, I
coming out
mean,
of
for
that
sure.
bracket.
No one's gonna argue that. I mean,
I'm
there's a
sitting here
reason that
explaining it, and Des is
you
out here shaking his head like I'm
No, I'm shaking
stupid
my
or
head
something.
because y'all dissing the East. I said you're correct. I said you're correct. Y'all hating on the East, but you are correct.
The East is
I'm
like
just
the
shaking my head
ACC.
because we're getting East hate and South
I'm sorry,
Carolina
but no
fan, bro.
one's scared of the Hawks in the first round.
Hey, I know that we're still on.
The Hawks are the only team to beat. The Hawks are the
Yeah,
only
we
team
know, we know.
to beat the
Also,
Knicks
by the way, you
twice.
talked about Trey Young. Just saying, your team got better when he left. Just throwing that out there. Your Hawks were a better basketball team when he left.
Well, remember
I
we
said
said the
about
team
Trae
wasn't
Young. I
built around
said
Trey Young; it was built against or around John Collins.
They should have kept him.
They should have. They would have been better
I
off.
said Trey Young had his chance. Trey Young had his chance to strive, and he showed what he could do. He had his chance to win a
Let's talk
championship.
about nobody wanted to play in Washington. Trey Young voluntarily was
Does
just
he-
like, "Hey, send me there." Crazy.
Yeah, send me there because at least he can actually do something there. And if he just wins more than losses, like if he does what he did in Atlanta where he's 500, they'll probably be happy about it.
Yeah, which he
Just
probably
throwing
will.
this out there, by the way. News just popped up. ESPN News. Debo Samuel just signed a 1-year deal with the 49ers.
He's coming home.
So he's going back to San Fran. Yep.
Crazy.
Can't wait for the
So I think that
Stephon
means
Diggs,
that
Josh
Brandon
Allen
Ayuk
reunion.
is definitely done.
I did. Woo! Did you guys see what Brandon Ayuk put on his Instagram the other day?
Yeah, some stuff about some crazy stuff.
He was talking about Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan got into a car accident, almost lost his eye, and then
mean
Brandon
Kyle?
Ayuk. What did I say? Mike? I meant
Mike.
Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan got into a car crash in like early summer, and the report came out a couple days ago, and Ayuk was like sneak dissing him on Instagram, which is insane. One, but two, that's just disgusting. Like that's just crazy. Dude almost loses his eye in a car crash, and because you don't like him as a coach, or you guys kind of that's. But that's why he's
PTSD
gonna be.
action going on.
Yeah,
Antonio
he's
Brown Jr.
Yeah, he's not gonna make it to an NFL team long. He might slip on one for a little bit.
Rule of thumb: don't text and drive, kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right message, wrong messenger. But so, anyways, it's what a couple days till August. So that means college football and NFL football are right around the corner. So I know the boys are hyped. It's gonna be a great season as always. But what's one big storyline you're looking forward for this college football season?
I'll say 10. I would like to see the battle between the SEC and the Big Ten. Who can come out on top this year? Who is kind of the top dog? I think this year really establishes who the top dog is, even though I already believe the Big Ten has done a good job so far. But if the Big Ten can put out, 3 to 4 good teams this year that realistically have a chance of winning it all, and then obviously make it pretty far in the playoff and have another team that comes out with a national championship, I think that kind of sends the message to the college football world that the Big Ten is now your top dog. I think 4 in a row pretty much sums it up. If they were able to accomplish that they have taken the top of the mountain. They have taken the peak, and it's their time to run college football. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to seeing most. Some of the regular season matchups that we have, but mainly who comes out on top in the postseason and who establishes the dominance of college football.
Ryan, what are you looking forward to?
I mean, obviously, I'm looking forward to South Carolina football. I do see a pretty favorable schedule as far as South Carolina football goes. I think there are winnable games. No game in the SEC is ever easy. So all of our wins are going to have to be earned. And hopefully this year we'll be able to play all 4 quarters, but we bring in a lot more talent. Hopefully we have a brand new O-line, so hopefully it's better than what we had last year. But I'm really excited to watch Lenore Sellers. I really want him to make a big push and kind of secure that top 5 overall pick in the draft because I think they said he's Anthony Richardson, but better than Anthony Richardson. Everyone was high on him in the NFL. So I think they said that it was Anthony Richardson done right. This is the words that they said. So hopefully he throws a good ball. He's got speed. He's a big body quarterback. So can't wait to watch him play this season.
Fair. I like Lenoris, so I like Lenoris.
I like the player. I just think that if we're still what are we 3 years in and we're still waiting for him to develop.
Yeah, that's normally when quarterbacks make that jump. year 3?
Not really. I mean, you have guys that you kinda know are getting better, and I feel like we saw him take a step back from year 2 to year 3, and I don't think he really made a step forward from year 2 to year 3. I think he actually went backwards.
Well, I mean, he was.
Storyline I'm looking forward to is the ACC, and seeing if there's any growth in it, if there's any more competitors, or if it just kind of stays the same kind of joke of college football. As well as I want to see what the Pac-12 does. I know they've gotten a handful of new teams. It is nice to kind of have that 5 conferences back, as well as the Big 12 had a little bit of a realignment, but nonetheless, it'd be nice to see those 3 smaller conferences really make their mark, especially in non-conference games against other of the SEC and Big Ten, to really see if there's a more competitive college football all around, especially what are we, 5 years into NIL? So I think that's a big thing I'd like to see, because there definitely is the 2 Big Ten, SEC, or the big dogs. But it'd be nice to see a few teams from each of those smaller conferences really make a push and kind of get that jump forward as well as the other ones. So it'd be nice to see that. Kind of going back into teams, more so coaches. Who are a couple coaches you believe are on the hot seat this year?
One for sure is Shane Beamer. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep, knew that was coming.
You can't promise to play. You can't promise to be in a college football playoff and then go out and win 7 games next year. That cannot be something that earns you brownie points or helps you keep your job for the following season. So I think that if anybody's on the hot seat, it's him. He's got to win. He's got to win some kind of big game. You can't follow up this season with the same performances from last season. You can't go out be up 30-3 against the top opponent and lose. That to me, that's on coaching. I don't care what you say. You can't blow big leads. And I think we've seen that as a trend throughout his coaching career. This year has to be different. You have the pieces that you claim to have. Everybody thinks that you have 3 of the most talented players in college football. It's time to see if you're able to actually win games with those guys or not. And if you're not able to win with some of the best talent you've ever had, then I think that that's a coaching issue, and I think that you should be, gone. It's one thing to bring talent in, it's another to develop it and actually get results out of it. And I don't want a guy who just brings talent in, which is great and all, but if he doesn't do anything or accomplish anything with it, then what's the point? You know what I'm saying? I would rather have somebody in here who can actually get results, and I'd actually rather have a guy who gets results from less than brings in more and does less. So that's how I stand, and I think he's on the hot seat, and that would be my top guy who's kind of pushing for keeping his job next year with a good season.
Ryan, what coaches or coach do you have on the hot seat this year?
Obviously, Shane Beamer did it to himself. So, if they don't win, if they don't get to where they need to be, I could see it happening. But I do believe the South Carolina schedule has at least 8 wins for sure. I see 8 wins, maybe an easy way to see 10 wins this season. But there's a lot of coaches that I have questions about to see what they're going to do this year. Like one for Pete Golding for Ole Miss. I want to see what he's able to do in his first year fully under his system. And I also would like to see what Texas Tech can do with all the stuff that's happened outside of college football and how that coach can take all that negative and turn it into a positive and see if they can make a run in the Big 12 still. So those are 2 teams that I have my eye on just to see what they can do with what they're dealt with. What about you, Des?
Yeah, I definitely am excited to see what Pete Golding does, as well as what Texas Tech can do. And then I do agree that Shane Beamer is on the hot seat. I think partially it is the up and down performances the last couple of years, but it also is him going, hey, we have the team. We're going to be a playoff borderline team at worst, And that automatically puts a target on your back, especially looking back on the previous years, especially the poor performances of the. So I think he definitely is on the hot seat, but I also think Luke Fickell of Wisconsin is on the hot seat because he's produced nothing. The program has only gotten worse. So if there isn't a jump in production or a really, really kind of reassuring production you see on that field, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make it halfway through the season, because he should have been fired last year. He was not. And so automatically when you're a guy who hasn't done anything, you're going to be a Nazi. And so that's one I really am, he's got to do something. He's done nothing. The program has only regressed. It's time to nut up or shut up, for lack of better words. And then another coach, I don't want to say hot seat, but he definitely has the monkey on his back. It's Dan Lanning. He has the pieces. He has the team. He has his program. He's shown that he can win with a great team and look very good. It's just those big games, big moments. He has yet to get that monkey off his back. So I'm kind of excited to see what he does. hopefully, I'm kind of rooting for him. I am. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely.
What is one transfer that you're very excited to see coming in and not including on your team?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I think if you're looking at a team that has impactful transfers, I think you got to look at a team like Texas. Texas brought in a lot of talent through the portal. I believe they brought in Hollywood Smothers, the running back, Rasheem Biles, really talented linebacker. They kind of just stacked up on the talent in the portal and really overloaded their already talented roster they would have had regardless. And then you can throw in another guy in Cam Coleman, who's one of the top receivers that have pretty much ever entered the transfer portal. So Texas really loaded up. I'm not really excited to see what they do as much because they do play us week 2 this year. But I do think that that's a very talented roster. It'll be interesting to see if Sarkisian, that's another coach that we can mention of, can he put together a great season with a talented roster? And this might be the most talented roster he's had to date. So that's a team that I think has had the most impactful transfers, and it'll be interesting to see how they do at the with a change of scenery and under Coach Sark.
Ryan, is what team or what transfer or team of transfers are you most excited to see this year?
Team wise, I definitely think I want to see how Indiana does with all that they brought in. I think they brought in a lot of talent. I think they killed the portal. I totally just lost track of what I was thinking. But Indiana for sure is one team that I want to see what they can do. I want to see what LSU can do with everyone they brought in, see if they can get back to the normal 9-win seasons that they're used to, 9, 10 wins. But outside of for players, I think just in general, I think all the quarterbacks that transferred, I think this transfer portal was very quarterback heavy. I'm looking forward to seeing Sam Levitt, Josh Hoover, even Aaron Philo down in Florida.
Darian Mensah from Miami.
Yeah, that was the other team I was thinking of was Miami with all the transfers that they brought in too after losing a lot of guys. But Mensa, Miami, you had the South Florida quarterback. Was it Byram?
Yeah.
Where did he end up going?
Like Byron Brown.
Byron Brown. He went to Auburn.
He went to Auburn with his coach.
Auburn, okay. You have Mistamaker, Texas State?
He was North Texas. And he went to Oklahoma State.
He went to Oklahoma State, yeah.
With his coach.
Wow, dude. Oklahoma State. Let's see if they can turn that around. Because that was bad. But yeah, just all those quarterbacks
They'll always
that
find their way
transferred.
back.
I can't wait to see what these guys can do in a new system. So what about you, Des?
Yeah. I think, like you said, all these quarterbacks that transferred, all these teams, big transfers. But there's a couple specific guys. Maybe I was kind of hoping they'd come to my team. Like Nick Marsh, I kind of started watching his tapes at Michigan State. So it'd be nice to see what he can do on Indiana and see if he can get that increased production on a really good team or a team that has potential to be really good. Another guy, even though I hate the team, I kind of want them to do bad, but I feel like they're going to be really good. It's Louisville. They brought in Lincoln Kienholz. I don't know. I can never pronounce his name correct. Kienholz. I saw some of his high school tape and I think he has you can just see his frame, his size, his style. I really do think that paired up with a Louisville team who is kind of scary and they don't have the hardest schedule. I really am. I don't want to use the word excited because I don't like Louisville. In fact, I despise Louisville, but they're going to be good. I really think they're going to be good. I can't deny it. I'm excited to see. It's always nice to see a quarterback who he didn't really have a shot to start at Ohio State, but he's still going to do really good in the ACC. Same with a guy like Mensa. Mensa going from Puke to Miami is also very big. I do think he's going to excel, and I think he has more pieces around him. He's in a better environment, and so while he's not going to all of a sudden get a talent jump because he's just going to be better of a player, he's just going to have more pieces around him, maybe more outside pressure, but he's going to have a lot less pressure in terms of carrying his team. So I am really excited to see Mensa as well. And then Drew Messamaker. You've heard the stories about him. He's got just a beautiful arm, really beautiful arm. So I'm kind of hyped to see what he can do on a Power 4 team. So I'm not going to dip too much more into college football because next week we are going to go really in depth on college football, overview of the season, and really our predictions about a lot of these major teams as well as our teams. But with college football coming around, that also means the NFL is right around the corner. What big storylines are you looking forward to this NFL season, Ryan?
Obviously, the Bills right now, and just seeing what they can do if they can in year one of Joe Brady. I think I'm excited to watch our rookies, Skylar Bell. I've been big on actually getting to see him catch passes from Josh Allen in practice and training camp. So see what he can do on the field. I do like that we kept Keon Coleman this year, and I really want to see him succeed. So hopefully a bounce back year for him. The new jerseys, I didn't like them at first, but Josh Allen told me to love them, so I love them because whatever big boy right here says goes. But yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait for the season to start. And just know on Valentine's Day, I'm going to be busy watching the Super Bowl because we're going to be in it.
Chris, what storylines are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to seeing if the AFC can kind of get their power team to show themselves. I think we've seen, especially last year, all the talent kind of was in the NFC. I do believe that the Super Bowl was already played in the NFC Championship game out of the Rams and the Seahawks. I do believe those are the two best teams in football last year. It's kind of trending towards that might be the case again this year with the additions that the Rams have made to combat the Seattle Seahawks and the talent that they already have on their roster. So I'm interested to see can the Chiefs kind of find their way again? Can they come back to their former glory of what they showed us for quite a few years? Can the Buffalo Bills, like what Ryan just said, can they establish their dominance and make it to a Super Bowl? I know the Ravens are trying to get back and make their way through the AFC. And then the Bengals. You look at a team like the Bengals, are they going to be able to have that elite offense, actually have a defense with a pulse that can get them through and help them win some games without having to score 45 points every game? So we're kind of looking at those teams. Houston's another team that we've talked about in the past. Can their offense put it together to, help their elite defense? I think that's a team that if we're looking at it, from an outsider's perspective and looking at it on paper, that's a team that has all the pieces to be a dominant presence. They're very similar to a Seattle Seahawks type of team. So can they do what Seattle just did a year ago that we saw in the NFL? So I'm excited to see can the AFC have a team put it all together and rival what we see out of the NFC?
I think for me, a big storyline is going to be the NFC West, specifically the Rams and the Seahawks. Can the Seahawks replicate the success they had, and can the Rams possibly jump the Seahawks and take over as because really the NFC between those two, I would say, are the top dogs. But also, I'm excited. Once again, excited is a loose word. I think the Bears are going to be good. I think the Bears are going to grow. Not excited for it because I do not like the Bears, but I also kind of want to see if they can make a jump and remain relevant as a top dog in the NFC. So that's one thing I'm really kind of looking forward to and expecting. And then the AFC, I really hope the Texans can kind of build up that offensive play and help that with their phenomenal defense. So we're going to do a little quick rapid fire. Quickly ask you a question. Give me a quick answer and maybe a sentence or two about it. Chris, what team you think is overhyped going into this season?
I hate saying it due to a player of ours being drafted there, but I've been saying it for a while. I do think Dallas is a little bit overhyped. I think everybody's hopping on the Dallas Cowboys will be going far. And it's just hard for me to believe that with all the evidence I've seen in the past, with the players that they currently have, not able to get it done when it counts. And I don't know if I can truly count on Schottenheimer to be the coach that gets them through this rough patch that they've been in the postseason and with their important games. So that's a team I would say I think is a little bit overhyped going into next year.
Ryan, what's one team you think's a little overhyped going into next year?
I think the New England Patriots are overhyped. I think last year they benefited from a very, very easy schedule. They lose Stephon Diggs. They do gain, oh God, what's his name? A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown.
So I think that will help.
And Romeo Doubs.
Those will help for Drake May. But I do believe that they were just a product of their schedule last year. So I think if the Patriots can win 10 games this year, they should consider it a successful season. Because I don't know. I think I have them sitting around 8 and 9 wins this season. I think they're going to deflate from last year.
Them Patriots deflating. Ain't that a thing?
Ain't that crazy?
Who do you think is the most overhyped team?
All right, Des, what is...
I think going into the season, one of the most overhyped teams will be the Broncos. I think that Bo Nix, while he had a great season, he isn't as talented as his numbers shown. I believe that Sean Payton definitely elevated it, and he was also carried by a phenomenal defense. But it is also young quarterbacks like that. Maybe it takes a year to figure them out as a defense. I think he's one of those type of quarterbacks that you can figure out. I think their offense isn't overly complex for a reason. Not to say they don't have great pieces on that team, let alone that defense has had a really great year. But I think there were times where that defense really shifted eyes from how shaky that offense truly was and how many games that they won they should have lost, or games that they barely pulled out, or teams that really weren't that great. Like in their division, the Chargers are, right? The Chiefs had a down year, and the Raiders were the Raiders. So it's not as if they were this phenomenal team. Yeah, they made a good run, but there was just the defense helped carry that offense, and that offense, a lot of people, when you really stop, look, and do the eye test, and really look at the statistics of what Bo Nix can actually do as of last year, you go, that's a really beatable team. And so I do think Sean Payton's a great coach, and so maybe they have an even better year as he progresses as a coach, gets more comfortable. But you also got to look at the fact of those players aren't as good as the record showed. So I think that's one who's going to be a little overhyped. All right, so here's the next question. What's one team you believe is going to make a big jump this season? Ryan?
I think, in my opinion, this is the easiest answer, and that's the New York Giants. I think depending on when Scatterbo is healthy enough to play, and if he gets cleared before the season starts, I think off rip that team could do something that the Giants haven't seen in a hot minute, and that's win games. I think you have a young quarterback going into his second year. I think you have a pretty decent backfield and some good wide receivers. Everything's going to dictate on whether or not Malik Neighbors can get back on the field and come back as strong as he was when he left. So I think with the addition of the Harborough brothers onto this team and how successful they are with young quarterbacks, I think that the Giants are going to be at least, I think I see the Giants winning 10 games this season.
Did you say the Harbaugh brothers? Did you just mean one of the Harbaugh brothers?
Well, both of them have been pretty successful with young quarterbacks.
I don't know if Des heard, but I heard you say the addition of both the Harbaugh brothers.
Of a Harborough brother. Does that help you?
I'm saying
Yeah.
you said Harbaugh.
I know what you meant.
No, I know y'all know what I mean.
Chris,
Y'all just made me seem like I'm stupid.
This
but it's
guy,
okay.
bro.
I'm used to it.
At least you're used to it. So, Chris.
Victim card.
Just kidding. Chris, what's one team you see making a big jump this year?
Riding a lot of momentum from last year coming into this season, and they play in fortunately for them, a very, very weak division. And I'm high on these Saints coming in next year. I think they can make a big jump. I think they have a very talented young quarterback, at least from what we saw last year. It'll be interesting to see if he can take what he did at the end of last year into this year. And I'm very high on their head coach. I think Kellen Moore is very talented. I think he's really, really, really good at running an offense that succeeds in the NFL and at the highest level. And I was excited to see what he did with his pieces last year. And I think he can take a lot and from what he learned last year into this year. And I think that they have a pretty scary team and a team that can easily win their division and make some noise. So I'm high on the Saints making a big jump from last year to this year. And I think they have a lot of momentum coming in from the end of last season into this season. So that's my team that I'm thinking is going to make a huge jump.
While they may not make the playoffs, I do believe that the Browns are going to make a big jump this year. I think that they seem like a new coach coming in is always it can always be a refreshing thing. I think Deshaun Watson is supposed to be the starter, and I've heard good things. I've seen a couple good things from it. Maybe we're not going to get, Houston Deshaun, but we won't get Bum Brown Deshaun. I do believe that they have some very solid pieces on that defense, and I think the offense will be good enough to where it looks promising. I'm not saying they're going to, win the AFC championship. I'm not going to say that even they're going to make the playoffs, but I do think they're going to look like a playoff contending team. And so I do believe they make that jump. I do believe that they look a lot better, and they look like a franchise that has the ability to progress better and better into a team that will be in the playoffs for years to come.
I like it.
All right, so guys, that wraps up this episode. Stay tuned for next episode where we're really going to take a deep dive into the college football season as well as the NFL season. We'll give our predictions, our semi-expert analysis, and all that good stuff. But without further ado, make sure you guys follow us on Spotify. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And yeah, as always, catch us
See you guys.
on the up.